Hi, welcome everyone to this presentation on improving ACT English and reading achievement among the 12th grade at Richwood High School. My name is Zanique Addison, and I am a student at Grand Canyon University, of course. This research project was completed as a part of the class for EDL 590. Today we'll be sharing findings and recommendations aimed at helping our seniors perform better on the ACT, particularly the English and reading sections. Okay. Start by emphasizing the stakes. ACT scores directly affect college admissions and career pathways. Pointing out the specific challenges at Richwood, many seniors aren't hitting the English and reading benchmarks scores as they should. Also, students haven't had enough structure or prep into their regular coursework. So the transition to the core question, can we improve scores through target teaching, consistent routines, strategic ACT prep, and integrated into our daily routines as well? This study aims to find practical solutions that will work within an existing classroom structure, not requiring add-on programs. So the problem statement was 12th grade students at Richwood are not consistent at meeting ACT college readiness benchmarks in English and reading. This project investigates whether target instruction, consistent classroom routines, or strategic ACT preparation can increase student activity. All right. Here are some research questions I asked and some of the goals. Uh, our first question examines whether target ACT instruction directly improve English scores. The second questions look I'm sorry. It looks specifically at the reading scores and improvements. The third question explores whether establishing consistent test prep routines makes measurable difference in the overall students' achievements. So the goals, we're aiming to increase ACT scores through our intervention. We want to see gains in ACT reading scores as well in English. Beyond the numbers, we're also focused on building student confidence and equipping them with better test taking strategies that can apply beyond this course. These research questions and goals work together. These questions guide our investigation. So, data collection methods. We use an ACT practice pretest and a post-test to measure the growth. Administrated weekly formative assessments to track progress throughout the intervention. I also collected student reflection surveys to gather qualitative feedback on their experiment. During this 3 to 4 week intervention, daily ACT bell ringers started each class with short, focused warm-up activities tied directly to the English and reading standards. We also had weekly passages. I'm sorry. Had students work through time reading and grammar passages that match the actual ACT format to build familiarity with speed. Also, we worked on vocabulary and grammar review. We delivered target mini lessons focusing on the grammar concepts as well as vocabulary that appeared mostly on the ACT. Test taking strategy information taught explicit strategies for pacing, using elimination techniques, and annotating passages effectively. All right, we had 25 participants total, 14 females, 11 males. The most significant finding of 80% of our students, which is about 20 out of 25, are economically disadvantaged. Additionally, six students have either IEPs or 504 plans. That is about a quarter of our group. This demographic make up a representative of Richwood High School as a whole. These numbers underscore why targeted academic support is so critical. We're working with a population that faces real barriers to success. The combination of economic disadvantage, and learning differences means our interventions need to be intentional and well resourced. All right, so start by highlighting some baseline data. On the left, students came in with the below collegeness readiness benchmark scores. English is at a 14.2, reading was at a 13.8, and the composite score was at an overall 14. So the transition with the post-test results on the right, after the 3 to 4 week intervention, significant improvements. English jumped to an 18.1, reading went to a 17.4. The composite score is a 17.8. That's roughly a 4 point gain across the board. Emphasize that gains were consistent across all measured areas, not just one section improved. This showed that the intervention was comprehensive and effective. You can note that while the post-test scores still may not reach the college readiness benchmark, depending on the standard and the trajectory and magnitude of the improvement demonstrates the intervention's impact. All right, this chart shows the strong gains we saw in just 3 to 4 weeks. English scores jumped 27% from 14 to 18. Reading scores went from increased 26%, which is 13.8 to 17.4. Point out the column chart shows both pre-test and post-test side by side so you can see the improvement clearly. It emphasizes that these gains were consistent across both subject areas, and this demonstrates that intervention was effective for our students. So here it shows 96% of our students show measurable growth, 24 out of 25 improve. This is a strong result across the board. Gains were concentrated among high performers. Improvement was widespread throughout the whole class. Here's a little breakdown of the distribution. 10 students improved by 4 points, the biggest gain we had. 11 students improved by 2 to 3 points. It's a solid progress. We're in the future, we'll work on that. Only one student showed no growth, and that's okay sometimes. The takeaway shows teaching strategies are working for the vast majority of the class with meaningful gains across the levels. Here we have weekly performative assessment trend, something I noticed while going through this process. So I started by highlighting the overall success. Students showed steady improvement throughout the intervention period. Walk through the graph from left to right with me. Started at a 52 pre-intervention, climbed to a 58 within 1 week. That's pretty good progress. Also, continue rising each week from 58 to 64, and then 71, and then it ended at 77 within the last fourth week. Emphasize 3 keys takeaway. 25 points total gain. That's a significant jump in accuracy. Consistent upward trend, which was improvement every single week, which was really good. And also 77% the final accuracy. This is a strong indicator that students were ready and developing skills we target. So to conclude this, by reinforcing the data validates our approach and shows students are on a positive trajectory. Here is student confidence survey. So I did a pre-confidence survey and a post-confidence survey. The survey questions ask students, I feel prepared to take the ACT English and reading test. Also, we looked at the dramatic shift in responses from pre-test to post-test intervention, whether it was agree, strongly agree. It jumped from 32% to 84%. That's a 52% point, right? Neutral responses dropped from 44 to 12. Disagree fell from 24 to 4. The data tells a clear story. Our intervention significantly boosts students' confidence and their readiness for these tests. Nearly 3 quarters more than students now feel prepared. This is one of our strongest outcome measures right here. Sorry. 4 weeks of structured, standards aligned ACT prep led to statistically significant gains in English and reading. This shows the intervention really works. We had daily bell ringers, weekly practice passages, kept things predictable. Students engaged, and routine matters for consistency, of course. Student surveys shows they're not just scoring better, they're feeling better, they're confident, they're thinking strategically about test questions. And some of the key takeaways to the growth was the immediate feedback we received. Also, students could see their mistakes right away and learn from them in the moment, which accelerated the process as well. All right, so here's some conclusions I came to while doing this project, this research. All three research questions were answered firmly. Target instruction shows measurable improvements in the ACT scores. It also shows measurable improvements in the reading as well. Test preparation boosted both confidence and actual performance. Um, the last week intervention was successful despite it was brief. And also structure and consistency matter even a short program can drive real results. The combination of targeted instruction, routine practices, and strategic approaches created more meaningful gains. Also, it emphasized that it wasn't just test scores. Students felt more confident too. This is a well-designed, focused intervention, and it can make a tangible difference within the future. All right, so I also do have recommendations for the school currently, Richwood High School. One, I would recommend everyone implement daily ACT bell ringers in all classes to make this consistent instructional routine to build from familiarity with the tests and content uh, around all subjects and all teachers. Quarterly practice sessions throughout the year, which will be like structured time sessions to help students experience the real test conditions and track progress over time. Also use assessment data to drive instruction, analyze results to see where the students may struggle, and also adjust teaching accordingly. Another thing I noticed we can implement is expanding intervention access. Make sure all students below college readiness. I don't. I'm gonna have to edit this. Um, Expand intervention access to make sure all students below college readiness benchmarks have targeted support available, not just a select few. Because sometimes I do notice some kids are left out when they're below a certain level here. Also, leaders need to incorporate ACT prep as a legitimate school improvement priority, not just the add-on here. This requires real commitment with allocating instruction time, securing resources, and providing professional development for the teachers. Another thing I feel like we could add on is build ACT preparation into the formal school improvement plan. This ensures it continues year after year and it doesn't just depend on one enthusiastic teacher. Also, ACT scores can help with the school score here. When it's embedded in the plan, there's accountability and sustainability across the entire school. All right, for the next future research, and steps, we're extending the intervention from 3 to 4 weeks to maybe about 9 weeks here because we have 9 weeks intervals here. To see if we can achieve deeper and more sustained impact on the performance. We plan to broaden our scope by including math and science sections to the ACT intervention as well. Right now, we're just focused on reading and English, and comprehension approach will give us a full picture. We need to track actual ACT administration scores, not just practice tests, to validate that our test gains can make real results. Also, we'll compare the outcomes across multiple senior courts to make sure our findings aren't just a 1 year thing. This strengthens the ability to generalize the results. All right, professional growth goals. So I also do have some goals for myself. My focus is using more data-driven instructional practice to improve student achievements and support teacher effectiveness. This is about being an intentional educational leader who leverages data to drive decisions. Um, Action steps I will take after this is I will lead ACT data meetings. I can facilitate regular sessions with instructional teams. I can analyze student performance trends together, create a culture of data and accountability, coach teachers using assessment data and provide one instructional coaching. Also, ground coaching in actual performances and summative assessment results help teachers translate data into classroom practices as well. During the year, I would also like to monitor student growth year round, track individual progress throughout the academic year to ensure continuous improvements. Oh, and this is my reference page. Thank you.